Hello, everyone. I love the start of global music at the beginning of these sessions. I'm dancing in the background here. Hello, everyone, and welcome to our first Startup Global webinar for 2023, The Business of Barcodes, Scanning for Success. My name is Kayla Isabel, and I'm the CEO of Startup Canada. To begin, I'd like to acknowledge that the land on which I am on today is located on the unceded territory of the Algonquin Anishinaabe Nation. We also acknowledge with respect the diverse histories and cultures of all Indigenous peoples. And I encourage all of you to take a moment to acknowledge the traditional territory that you are residing on today, as we have many participants from all corners of this fabulous land. Today's session is being recorded, so we have lots of great nuggets to share and lots of information to send your way. And so we'll share that afterwards on our YouTube channel and to anyone in your network that might be interested in this topic. We invite all of our attendees now to introduce yourself in the chat function. So if you go to the bottom of your screen, jump into the chat, let us know your name, your organization. Feel free to pop in your LinkedIn and where you are joining from today to show some incredible diversity of regions across Canada. A bit about Startup Canada, for those of you who are just learning about us. Startup Canada is a national nonprofit that is the gateway to Canada's entrepreneurial ecosystem. And we are really here to connect entrepreneurs with support, with community, and with tools that they need to build successful businesses in Canada. And this program, the Startup Global program, is one of our flagship core offerings at Startup Canada. This program aims to connect entrepreneurs wanting to build global businesses with a network of international ecosystem partners that are really dedicated to their success. And we're really thankful to so many of our advisors and mentors and speakers for their passion and bringing their energy into these conversations. Throughout the year, Startup Canada is going to be hosting similar types of live webinars, workshops, a Startup Global pitch competition that will be announced very soon, and exclusive in-kind help to support your journey to exporting. And all of these tools, all of these resources, all of this information can be accessed for free through the Startup Global program. So definitely check that out if you haven't already. Making today's session possible and all of our programming at Startup Canada, I'd like to take a moment to thank our co-presenting partners, Export Development Canada, also known as EDC, the Trade Commissioner Service, UPS, and our ecosystem support partners, Scotiabank, eBay, Google, Northforge, the Trade Facilitation Office of Canada, and GS1 Canada that you're going to be learning all about in today's session. Today's conversation is focused on the business of barcodes, and we are so excited to dive into this very important and often neglected topic. Barcodes are everywhere. They're on the food that we buy, they're on the clothes that we wear. Our supply chains use barcodes for logistics and so much more. They are so essential. And today's speakers are really going to be demystifying barcodes by explaining what unique product identification is truly important. When should your product be getting a barcode, and practically how to set up and manage your barcodes for your business. So we're getting really tactical here and really specific to help all the founders on the call today navigate through barcodes. So without further ado, I've been talking plenty. I'm honored to introduce our speakers today, who I'll pass off the virtual screen to shortly. We have Alain Picard, who is the Advisor Community Engagement at GS1 Canada. Hello, Alain.
Hello.
We've got Kevin Kelly, Senior Director, Subscriber Engagement and Partnership at GS1 Canada. Hello, Kevin.
Bonjour.
Bonjour. And we've got Alexandra McCann, who's the co-founder of Sun Under the Sea Nutrition, Inc. So we're going to be getting a great founder perspective in this conversation as well. Hello, Alex.
Hi.
Hello. You can read their bios, connect with them on LinkedIn. All of this information is going to be shared in the chat today, as well as in our follow-up emails after the session. So Alain, Kevin, Alexandra, thank you so much for joining us today, sharing your knowledge, sharing your expertise in the business of barcodes. And we're going to kick things off. We're going to hear first from Alain and Kevin at GS1 as they walk us through about a 20-minute presentation. Then we're going to have an interactive discussion for about 15 minutes amongst the panelists, introducing Alexandra, and then plenty of time to address Q&A from the audience. So ask very important questions, pressing questions for your specific business. Often these questions are wondered by all of our audience members. So we really encourage you to use that chat function throughout the conversation, and we'll make sure that we get to them at the end of the session. So without further ado, I'm going to turn it now over to Alain and Kevin to kick off the presentation by GS1.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Kayla, for that great introduction. And I must commend you on having pronounced my name. I have been called a whole lot worse than your pronunciation. Excuse me. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
The business of barcodes. I'd first like to just send a quick shout out to Ryan Richard and Lizelle Mulhone for having invited us after I reached out to them sometime last year. Lizelle was introduced through Ryan. Just a quick shout out to them. It was wonderful to exchange with them right from the get-go. How we got to that exchange, last year, GS1 Canada, who has been operating in Canada for over 30 years, started a new division, basically catered to support small business. And hence why we exist in terms of wanting to align ourselves with organizations like yours, which is what we tried to do last year, which has culminated into this webinar today. So we hope to have a long-term alliance with you folks. So far, it's been wonderful. And we certainly want to share as much information as we possibly can to help your participants, your members, and small business in Canada in general. We'll be walking through the agenda. We've got a bunch of topics. Time is sensitive, so we're going to go through some of these things quite rapidly. But at any time, as mentioned, if you have questions, please indicate them in the chat and we'll be able to get to them later on. As a little bit of a side note, just for all you new business owners and entrepreneurs wanting to go in, I, at a certain point in time, had the privilege of opening a small business with a partner of mine after I left the corporate world after 22 years in the conference communication business. I can empathize with your challenges, with your hair-pulling adventures, and your giddiness and your excitement and all that happy stuff. It is great. It's wonderful. And we commend you, and hats off to all those new startups and entrepreneurs that want to get into the market in whichever field you aspire to be in. Always keeping in mind that small business is the backbone of the Canadian industry. Into the agenda, introduction, we'll cover a little bit of our role and overview. We'll jump right into the barcodes, which is where it all stems from. Kevin will be helping us with managing the product information. He'll cover product identity, images, and database, where he is a specialist in. I'll come back and talk to you a little bit about the GS1 tools and resources that we have. And then we'll have our special guest, Alex, to talk to us about her experience with startup program and her organization, Sun Under the Sea. And then we are going to finish up with a Q&A, which will bridge that in. So let's jump right in. We first have a small video we're going to show that basically going to explain who we are and what we do.
Who is GS1 Canada? GS1 Canada helps Canadian businesses succeed every day and everywhere around the globe. GS1 is a not-for-profit organization that develops, implements, and manages supply chain standards in multiple industries and in more than 150 countries. We provide industry with the tools, trust, and confidence they need to achieve business goals. The GS1 system of standards are built on 4 core principles, enabling industry to identify, capture, share, and use perpetually cleansed, accurate, and trusted product information. Our suite of solutions allow trading partners to speak to one another using one powerful global language of business. In the healthcare and pharmacy sector, GS1 standards help enable patient safety and improve the quality and efficiency of the healthcare system. Food service and grocery trading partners use GS1 global standards and registries to share brand-certified product, marketing, and nutritional information and images. This enhances consumers' safety and confidence in the food they eat and in the stores they shop at. Today, organizations recognize that effective data management tools are critical for business success. Canadian retailers are collaborating with their general merchandise and hardlines trading partners on the use of GS1 Canada product data management services to get products onto shelves and into consumers' hands faster. These tools also enhance product recall processes and improve marketing and advertising capabilities. Global standards. Trusted data from an organization that is constantly innovating. Canadian business runs on GS1 services and business solutions.
What is our role in Canada? At the end of the day, we are sometimes misled by being the big bad creators of standards and rules. We are not. At the end of the day, we establish the standards based on industry need, from the manufacturer all the way to the retailer and everything in between. We support our community management by way of the standards. And then that translates into us being educators in the market. What we're trying to do is educate to be able to minimize the hurdles and get those products to market as fast as possible through that supply chain. From an implementation standpoint, we cover all sectors. Food and beverage, obviously, is a big niche of ours. Food service, we cover health and pharma, healthcare, and general merchandise. Let's jump into barcodes. What's the purpose? As soon as you bring a new product to market, you're going to need a barcode. The barcode is what is the initiator in getting all your products to market and all the information that's attached to that barcode, which we'll cover a little bit more in detail in a few seconds. You need authentic barcodes. You will run into hurdles if you get a non-authentic barcode and try and get in with trading partners. They will need that barcode to be licensed, and GS1 is the route to take to ensure that that barcode is licensed. It is recognized globally. So once that barcode and that number is assigned to your product, it is assigned for life. And as long as you own that license, it is yours and it is recognized globally. We do operate in 114 different countries, so that becomes important when you want to get into exports and so on. We're going to have a look at why production identification is so important. We have another video for you here, and then we'll come back and get into some more detail after.
The answer remains the same. Think about the way consumers shop today. Sure, we still go to physical stores, but we also search, compare, and buy online through our smartphones, laptops, and tablets. Selection used to be limited to what we could physically find and buy. Now we have the world at our fingertips. But how does Kelly know that what she's finding in her online search is really what she's looking for? And how can Sweetie Pie brands and Darcy's make sure that their products are discoverable and accurately represented across all channels? The times may have changed, but the answer remains the same. Unique identification through the use of GS1 standards. In the physical world, the number used in a UPC barcode actually represents a global trade item number, or GTIN, that uniquely identifies that item all around the world. With this kind of unique identification, trading partners can exchange information automatically and accurately throughout the supply chain and with their consumers. In today's omni-channel world, products appear on physical and digital shelves. But a product's digital data is not always what it should be. Search engines are dealing with product data that is not structured consistently, so Kelly gets different results depending on how and where she searches. There is no way for search engines to find the right products each and every time, let alone look for duplicates or flag incorrect information. Some products appear when others don't, and even when Kelly gets to the right product, the quality of the information can be incorrect, incomplete, or irrelevant. It's a hassle for consumers like Kelly, and it's a liability for brand owners and retailers. Proprietary numbering systems confuse matters even further. Without a standardized global system, the same identification number can yield very different results. It seems complicated, but there's a simple solution: encoding a global trade item number and product data into product web pages. With products identified in a standardized way, search engines can more easily find the right product with the right information attached to it. Consumers get robust, accurate search results, and they know exactly what they are comparing as they shop. They have access to more detailed product information, where to buy based on their location, precise product comparisons, and real-time social media reviews through the linking of relevant data. Sweetie Pie brands and Darcy's can be more confident that their products will appear in the right consumer searches with the right information, making them as appealing online as they are in the store. The use of GS1 standards revolutionized the retail world with the barcode more than 40 years ago. Now's the time to take unique GS1 identification and attributes online and ensure the best omni-channel shopping experience for consumers like Kelly.
Few takeaways from the video. Increased customer satisfaction, customer trust, product listing, higher purchase of frequency, and accurate product fulfillment. All keys in having proper identified products. When you get into the typical barcodes, which we all have seen and used throughout our purchases through the years, what in our world is called a GTIN, or a global trade item number, is essentially a barcode. The number itself is permanently assigned to every one of your products that you bring to market. Each product has its own barcode or GTIN number. It's permanent, cannot be reused or reassigned. Some of the examples that we have here, a very popular UPC, the G12, is what we recognize most in our grocery stores and abroad. The data matrix is popular as well. The data bar is the one used for produce. And then you have what we consider the GTIN14 used for logistics, transportation, and so on. An example here of product identification. You have two items, two tea bags. One is flavored of green apples, the other one sweet pear. You notice the barcode number is the same. That is a no-no. You're going to need an individual barcode for each product. When we get into the casing and logistics and shipping, your product will have its own barcode or GTIN. The case will have its own barcode or GTIN, and so will the pallet. And this is key for traceability throughout the supply chain, from the manufacturer all the way to the retailer. As part of some of the tools that we offer within our subscription, there's a GTIN estimator. And this is probably one of the most frequent questions that we get. How many GTINs, how many barcodes do I need? This gives you a little bit of a snapshot on 3 sizes, 3 flavors, 3 specialties, 3 packages. It's going to necessitate 81 GTINs or barcodes in total. We have a small example here, Alain's hot sauce. We have a 100 ml container and a 200 ml container. So it's 2 sizes, 4 flavors of each, no varieties, no other variations. You're going to need 8 GTINs for this hot sauce. Couple of keys to keep in mind: the immediate need for your GTINs or barcodes and the potential future needs. Have a look ahead and see what you would potentially need and plan accordingly. When do you need a barcode? Anytime you're going to get into a trading partner relationship with some of the major players or even some of the intermediate players, you will need a barcode. There is no choice. They will send you back to get a authentic licensed barcode. In terms of marketplaces between the Amazons, Google, and Shopify, to give you an example, Amazon, it is now mandatory to have GS1 Canada barcodes to trade and sell on Amazon. Google is strongly recommending at this time, and Shopify is strongly suggesting. These have changed over the years. They are looking for consistency throughout the supply chain. Couple of management rules to keep in mind as you determine how many barcodes or GTINs you're going to require. This is a table of rules that we have readily available for you. That basically lists what you're going to need to consider when either changing content, labeling, special attributes, and so on. I'd like to now invite Kevin to join us to talk to us about managing the product information for your GTINs or barcodes. Kevin?
Great, thanks a lot, Alain. So part of GS1, after Alain's discussed about the GTIN itself and why it's important to have a GTIN, we have tools that can help you along the way. One of the such tools is Manage My GTINs. Basically, this is a tool that you use to facilitate your unique identifiers, so you can produce your barcodes, your actual printed barcodes for your printers, and all of the different levels of packaging throughout your supply chain. And it's very easy to access once you're signed up with GS1. Next slide, Alain. Yep. Part of the My GS1 and the Manage My GTIN is the attribute input. So you saw earlier in the videos, it's very important for your consumer and for your trading partners to understand and to know what different attributes for your product are. And we have tools that can easily help manage your product name, your classification of the product, the functional names, the unit of measures, the weights and dimensions, and any other key product information that is key for your consumer and your trading partners. Go ahead. And also, I don't know if you saw in some of those in the videos, we're in a digital world. Even if someone's not buying your product online, it's very important to have high quality images. Everybody researches online to see what the products look like. If you look at web pages and there's no images for products, generally speaking, those things are ignored or pushed aside. So things that have products or images for products get a lot more attention to your product itself. We do have a photo studio in Montreal that can assist with any of the photography needs for your product as you move forward. Go ahead. Now, so getting the information, you have a trading partner, you're listing your product with retailers in Canada. And there's a couple ways to get the information. They're looking for all of your product information, your supply chain information, any of the mandatory attributes for products. If you don't have a way of getting this information to them in a seamless fashion, you're looking at a one-to-one relationship. So you're filling out listing forms, sending images to individual retailers. And this can be very complex and very cumbersome. Go ahead, Alain. This is where we can help as well. As Alain mentioned, we're not for profit. We're a community management company. So basically, we're there for the community. And the community came to us with a discussion to say we need one location where we can have all the images and supply chain information, including all the attributes that are needed for trade in one location, so we can put this information in, capture it once, and send it off to a one-to-many type of approach. So if you're going to be trading with multiple retailers in Canada, you'll be able to put in your supply chain information, your images themselves as well. And instead of sending it on a one-to-one approach, it'd be a one-to-many approach. All of the retailers will be able to pull this information from our system and have it at their fingertips through either an API or a manual download. If there's changes to this content, once you make these changes to the content, it's automatically distributed to each one of the retailers that you have trading partner relationships with. Go ahead.
Wonderful. Thanks, Kevin. Thanks for that info. As we move through your approach and your business plan, things to consider, and these are much more advisory areas to consider as you go in. Which sales channels are going to be right for you? Try and determine that as you go along in your journey in wanting to get your product to market. You'll need to consider regulatory requirements, which could be municipal, provincial, and federally inclined. Just make sure that you have a look, depending on which products you're bringing to market, that you're very familiar with the regulations, because again, we carry that information through that barcode, through that gene. And in certain cases, you will need to have that information readily available to all that need. Pitching your product, rehearse yourselves. There are different ways of pitching the product. Keep that in mind as you want to go and try and compete against everyone out in the marketplace. And then what you're going to need to know to sell your products online, which is key today. Many products, many introduction of products are now going online. So it's going to be important for you to get familiar with how to get to that process. In terms of support mechanisms, what we've started to do, this as an example, was Small Business Big Dreams initiative that we did last year at a trade show in Toronto for the Canadian Health and Food Association. And you can scan this QR code, and what this does is send you right to a small business page with all kinds of information to assist you on how to get your business going in terms of barcodes and so on. Other tools and resources include our trade certification or readiness program that is done in conjunction with Agri Assurance Canada. We're very proud to have launched this program in late fall. I know that Startup Canada has promoted this program, and we're very grateful for that as well. So that's an example of what we're doing. We also support the CDAP program, which is the Canada Digital Adoption Program, which has been in existence for a while, which is continuing to evolve. And if you need help in putting your website together or your e-com or your online information, this program will assist you, and there's some grants available for you there as well. And then once you're a subscriber, we call our help libraries, all kinds of information in regards to training resources and so on that we offer to our members or subscribers as they go along in their journey. We're also putting together a small business forum in 2023, a podcast offering more webinars where we can share more success stories. And we have established some work groups that we're starting to work through LinkedIn. So all kinds of nice things happening for 2023. That concludes our little section for the time being on GS1. I would like to, at this time, invite our special guest, Alexandra McCann. And before we get to a few Q&As with you, Alex, maybe you'd like to share a little bit about you and your company to date.
Yeah, thanks, Alain, and thanks everybody from Startup Canada for inviting me here today. I feel really honored to be here and hopefully share with some entrepreneurs or other enthusiasts that are out there trying to get their businesses going. Some of my experience with my company and also with using GTINs as well. So I'm Alex McCann, and I'm the co-founder of a company called Sun Under the Sea Nutrition. We're based here in Chester, Nova Scotia, and we are a wellness and nutrition company, and we're on a mission to spark joy through inspired nutrition and living. And our most popular product that we have is a non-dairy collagen creamer that we make here, sourcing collagen from Atlantic, Canada. And we've sold this product mostly in Atlantic, Canada and throughout Ontario, but we also do some sales in the US as well. Previous to this role, I also had some experience with barcodes and GTINs as well in another company that I ran where I was the CEO called Bay Run, which was a pet company, and we sold products across Canada and into the US as well. So that's a little bit about my my background and my company, but I'm really excited to jump in on some questions for today.
Wonderful, thanks. Can you share a little bit of your Startup Global program experience? And I know you were one of the originals with us.
Oh, well, I don't know how much experience I have compared to other folks, but our company has been really interested in exporting. It's part of our strategy, and so we've been trying to do some work, cooperating with local supporters such as EDC and BDC and others. And Startup Canada to explore what it means to go into an international market. And probably the most important part of that, in addition to having really good quality products and services, is having good logistics to be able to go into new markets. So I don't know if we're the most experienced with Startup Global, but we hope to be in the future, because they have some really great products and services to help companies kind of understand the market and how to enter markets, especially into the US and beyond.
Wonderful, wonderful. Few benefits and tips to share.
Oh, about Startup Global?
Yeah.
Well, I guess I would say that I think if you're participating or joining with Startup Canada and Startup Global, you're surrounded by people who know a lot about going into business internationally, what the pitfalls are. There are a lot of resources that are there that can help you navigate how to enter a new market, and also particularly around kind of regulatory stuff, or even needing to change your labels to go into it. So in Canada, maybe if you're going across Canada, or specifically in Quebec, you definitely want to make sure you have French language labels. If you're going into the US or maybe Mexico, you maybe need to make sure that your labels are compliant with local sort of regulatory requirements. And sometimes that's very different than what we have here, or a little bit different. And then finding the right kind of people who can help you with that. And then also just sort of navigating financing and funding to help you reach those markets. I think that's probably the thing that's been most beneficial.
Wonderful, wonderful. Tell us how you were initially introduced or found out about GS1 Canada, either in your previous role or in your current role.
Yes. Well, in my previous role, I first learned about GS1, the company that I was at before, which is called Bay Run. Had a bit of an acquisition where we were merging a couple of companies together that were involved in the pet industry. And as a result of that, we had probably about 35 products. But as a new entity, we had to kind of re-register all of the previously used barcodes or UPC codes under our new company name, as opposed to the old company name. So we went through this process, and at the time I didn't have very much experience at all. But being a startup, you have to learn how to figure these things out. And so I found out that we had to kind of re-register and authenticate new codes. And so I really just went on to the GS1 website and had to kind of navigate and figure out how to do that. So that was, I think, how I first got familiar with GS1, was actually having to re-register the UPC codes and the GTINs for our boxes, our cases, as a new entity, and having to sort of reestablish all of those kinds of things, and get new ones printed off and make sure that they were scannable and all that kind of stuff. And then in the companies that I'm at now with Sun Under the Sea, I basically just took all of that experience and knowledge and applied it to Sun Under the Sea, and that has gone much more smoothly.
Wonderful, wonderful. Yeah, navigating our website, not always the easiest thing, but I can assure you we're working on that. That is top of the list to try and make it a little bit easier to navigate. Right now, how many barcodes and GTINs do you have in service, Alex?
Right now with Sun Under the sorry, dog. The joys of Zoom. So right now I have 10. I think in our previous company, we had about 35 or more. Actually, I think we probably had more by the end of it, but we have about 10 now. And so we use them for our non-dairy creamers. We have some other products that we're lining up. So we're very careful about kind of managing and tracking all of the GTINs. And then we also have some for our boxes. So we have, I guess, two sets really. We have one that are directly on the product, which I have one here. I'm sure everybody has seen it. I have one on the product here. And then we also have some on our cases as well. So when we send out, so if someone buys our individual product, we can have it scanned at the retailer. We can have it, we can use a POS service. We use Shopify. So you can, be at a farmer's market, or you could be, at a pop-up or something like that. And you can just use your phone and you can scan it, and then it immediately knows which product it is and the price. And then also for our retailers or things like that, then we have who buy in cases. We have the case, the GTIN case, which is the 14 digit one.
Perfect.
Yeah. And we're hopefully moving into pallets. So we're going to have another one for that too.
You'll need, you'll need another one. I guess you've answered a little bit where you're selling your products. Are you online as well, Alex, or aside from Shopify?
Yeah, so we sell, I would say that we do sell products online. I wouldn't say that at the moment, I'm on a mission about this, but at the moment, I wouldn't say that this is our biggest sales channel, but it is a growing one for us. And so we do sell online. We have a Shopify site like many people do. Having the barcodes makes it very easy. And we sell directly to retailers. So we sell a lot of products in natural foods kinds of companies. We do have distributors as well. So we have distributors. Our product, since it's a non-dairy creamer, is sold at cafes and restaurants and places like that. And so those folks usually buy a couple of cases at a time, as opposed to individual packets. In our other company, we did sell product online through Amazon. And that was an experience. I'll just say, everyone wants to sell on Amazon. It sounds like it's really easy, but it's not as easy as one thinks. There's just a lot of things to navigate. And in the early days, we actually had, because I'd mentioned we had reissued our barcodes when we became a new company. We had a little problem where we had some resellers who were selling product online that had a different barcode than our new barcode. So we had to go through a little process with Amazon to authenticate that we were actually the owner of that product line. And so we had to go back and forth, and we kept saying, yes, this is our product. We are the sellers. We are the authentic people. These other people were selling in the past, but because of the merger, there was kind of two sets of product that were kind of still circulating in the market. So that was an interesting experience. And I guess something, if someone's going to buy a business or bring another thing in, then that would be something I would advise people to be aware of, is that you could have, especially through an acquisition, there could be multiple products circulating, but you have to just make sure that it's known that you are the authentic owner of those products and barcodes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Excellent point. Alex, thank you very, very much for that. We applaud you with all that you've done. That brings us to general questions. Kayla, I guess I'll send it back to you to see what we have in the chat. And if there's questions for Alex, Kevin, and myself, we'll gladly answer them.
And
right now?
we've got a lot of them. We've got a
Okay.
lot of questions coming through, which is fabulous. And thank you so much, Alain, Kevin, and Alexandra. Two great perspectives here, making it feel very real, but also going through the fundamentals and the basics as well. So I think that was a really helpful level setting. So let's bring some of these specific questions into the fold as well. We've got a number of questions on sort of reissuing barcodes. So should a new barcode be issued with changes on front of package labeling for CPGs? Can you elaborate on this as much as possible?
Kevin, can you take that one?
Yeah, for sure. So there's certain circumstances where a new barcode or new GTIN is required. There is a link that we can put in the chat that helps you determine when this is needed or not. If there's certain changes on the front of pack that's making, I'm just using this as an example, making a claim that was already in the package itself or in the material itself, there'd be no need to make a GTIN change. But if there's material changes like net contents, you've added an ingredient, things like this, there's a decision tool that is on our site that it can actually help you manage when or when not you need to make a GTIN change.
Amazing. Okay. Hopefully that's helpful to our audience member. Great. Costs. How much is a GTIN?
Well, there are a variety of costs depending on the size of your business. And we'll start from the basic, and I can speak for small business because these are initiatives that were introduced, within the last year. You can get a GTIN or a barcode as little as $25 for one. And that's called just a basic license that you have for one product. Then we have $150 range for 10 products, and then it goes up to $500 for 1 to 99 products. So depending on the services you're going to need, we have different what we call bundles that are priced accordingly.
Yeah,
But to put it at the most basic level, a GTIN will cost you $25 per.
Yeah, I think so. We added in the chat actually the link to the small business costs, so that can help people navigate what it is for a small business. Now, when you get into larger amount of GTINs, it changes a little bit, but that's certainly a start.
Perfect. Okay, question sort of on the scope of GS1. Can we purchase barcodes and start a service like selling it? I imagine kind of like selling web domains or something like that to our customers, or does that sort of include a bit of a breach of contract in GS1 terms and conditions?
That's correct. Yeah, you cannot repurpose the barcode, so you can't take that number and sell it to somebody else. If that's kind of what I think the question is, it is yours. It only can be used for yourself, and that's it. So.
Perfect. How long does a barcode last?
That's good question. It's infinite. If you don't change any of the attributes or any of the product content, that barcode is for life. As soon as you change, though, as we talked about some of the rules before, what we call attributes, content, milliliters, nutrition facts, so on and so forth. Anything that's going to be of enough of a change, you'll need a second or a new barcode or GTIN. But if your product is the same and you keep selling it indefinitely in the same format, in the same content, that barcode is there for life.
Amazing. Potentially a bit of an experiential question for Alexandra as well. Do barcode requirements differ between, a Google type platform or Amazon, or looking at all of your different channels? Are there any other sensitivities around shifting that barcode?
No, that's another good question. No, that's the uniqueness of the GS1 standard. It is recognizable throughout the world, and the standardized barcodes themselves, so the linear barcode, the stack barcode, everybody will start to see this coming very soon, is the GS1 2D data matrix, which looks a little like a QR code. That'll start to come into play very soon in pharmaceutical products, in cannabis products very soon, and probably by 2027, I believe the US is adopting this as a standard for food items as well. So, but it is going to be recognized globally.
Okay. Alexandra, is there anything from your experience navigating multiple platforms that would be helpful for the audience?
I don't think so. I think that like once you get that standardized, I mean that the benefit of the GS1 G10 or barcode is that it is standardized. And so whether you're selling on Shopify or Google or Amazon, it's all the same and it can be verified. The only thing I will mention is that it has happened to me where certain retailers, especially in the US, want to authenticate or validate that your barcode is real. And so having it with GS1 allows them to do that and verify that you are in fact, who you say you are and that you're selling this specific product. So it's helpful to have kind of one standard place where you do that. But in terms of once you have it, selling on the different platforms or places doesn't matter. It's more just having that standard barcode.
Amazing. Super helpful. So we've got a wonderful question from one of our presenting partners, actually at UPS, coming from Paul. Is there any work that is being done at linking or aligning barcodes to harmonized codes to further standardize products globally?
Kev, can you handle that one for me?
Yeah. I mean, the
question.
the whole intent, Paul, is that it is going to be harmonized throughout the world. I mean, I know certain local regions have different formats they want to use. I don't think we'll get away from the EAN in Europe versus the UPC here in North America, but the whole intent of the G10 itself is that it doesn't matter where it comes from. At least we'll be able to use the same type of barcodes throughout the world. An example of that is yes, the community itself has to come to certain agreements. So that's why pharmaceutical products or the healthcare agreed on the 2D data matrix for the whole chain, so that everybody's using exactly the same thing. Things like that will happen, I think, globally. I don't know about sooner than later, but eventually.
Question around seasonal or limited quantity items. And I know this has come up a lot in the Startup Global program as well, when trying to experiment with various products or intentionally having seasonal lines. Do you need any special requirements around seasonal or limited quantity items? If you have a barcode per flavor, but that flavor is limited or seasonal, would you need an individual barcode for each seasonal item? Or can you get one barcode to potentially cover, multiple seasonal cycles? So
this has come up quite often, actually. Again, we're a standard organization. We don't force anything. These are optional ways of doing business to make sure the consumer knows exactly what they're going to get, right? We've had cases where some have not changed the barcode and it's been refused by the retailer. It's because it's like, no, this needs to be changed. The fundamental, I did attach the decision tree in the chat. According to the decision tree of the GTN management rules, you would change the barcode for sure, even if it's a limited product or a seasonal product. I mean, it's in the intent is it's in the eyes of the consumer as well. Are they supposed to differentiate this product from something else?
Alexandra, do you have something to share?
Yeah, I was just going to say, didn't have something about seasonal, but I do know that when you're selling a product to a retailer, maybe not in the farmer's market or something like that, but if you're selling it to a retailer, on the retailer side, in their systems, they input a description of the product. So if you suddenly switch the product, but it's using a previously used barcode, it'll create a mismatch. So when the retailer receives the shipment or the package, they'll be expecting, one particular product and the barcode won't match, or the description of it won't match. So a lot of times if you do that, then they'll just send the product back to you. Or you may get in a situation where they don't accept it and you have to put a new, printed sticker UPC code on the package, which will use up a lot of your time and energy. So I would advise not to do that. We had a situation, we didn't do it on purpose, but when it went to the printer, a barcode for a different package got put on one of our products, and then it got shipped out. And that's how we found out, oh, it's the right product, it just has the wrong barcode, so it couldn't be accepted by the retailer. And we had to go and laser print a whole bunch of stickers and stick, like hundreds of stickers on the back of products until you get the next run of your boxes or your bags or, whatever the thing is. So I recommend not to reuse it. It's the barcodes are not that expensive. Just get a new one. That would be my advice.
There we go. Great advice. I have a specific question around taking inventory. So Nancy's interested in an internal barcode system for inventory of furniture and equipment, and as well as an ability to scan the textbooks in a student library. Where do I begin my search for a system to help us? So actually on the internal inventory side, would GS1 support and barcoding be helpful?
I don't know we can certainly have a conversation about a system itself, but as far as the numbering system itself, yes, many companies purchase what we would call a prefix. So it'd be a certain number, and then after that you can go up to like say 10,000 records with that same prefix, and they use it for internal purposes only. So there is certainly that option, and then we can have a discussion on the internal systems itself. Because I'm not sure if we have something internal that could help you or not, but at least we can manage the barcodes for you. So.
Amazing. These are all really great questions, everyone. This is great.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that's a nice transition into advisory support. So does GS1 allow you to work directly with an advisor or have a service where you can work directly with an advisor?
It is normally we assign what we call account managers. It is at this stage based on size of business and so on. So as a startup, our help center and our info are the resource centers available for all questions and answers. If we need to escalate and have more of a one-on-one, we do that. But in terms of managing accounts, they're usually for accounts, let's say we use a benchmark of $5 million of revenue or more. At that point in time, we assign an account manager that handles the questions and ongoing references needed for that type of business. But our help center and our info are readily available to assist small business.
Fantastic. That's good to hear. Then, Alexandra, any final comments, words of wisdom, piece of advice you'd want to leave with our founders who are I love this idea of like printing your first barcode. Like I haven't thought of that being a really great milestone, but it is something we should celebrate. What advice do you have, Alexandra?
I would say just if I can do it, you can do it. I did not know too much about creating barcodes, getting a barcode, getting the check digit, all that stuff. I just went to the website and kind of navigated through the site to figure it out. There's some really great videos and tutorials to kind of walk you through how to do it, or what's the purpose, or what kind of code to use on what kind of packaging. So I think it's really easy to do. Don't reuse barcodes. And the only other thing I would say is, depending on what kind of product you're getting, just make sure you get a really good high resolution printout or version of the barcode so that's easily scannable. Sometimes if you get like a low resolution barcode printed out or file that you're going to use to send to your printer or whoever, if it's not good quality, it'll make it harder for the retailer to scan or your phone to scan. So a good quality image is recommended, but everybody can do it. If I can do it, you can do it. That's my advice.
Barcodes for everyone. I love it, Alexandra. That's great, great advice. And to Alain and Kevin, I think I will be able to ask maybe one more question, then I'll ask the same sort of final statement if that works for you. But Kevin, I see you've got your hand raised. Do you have a question?
Yeah, I don't have a question. I just have a comment on what Alex just said.
Oh, sure.
We do have a service. It's called scan verification. It's literally like a $15 charge. You send it into us. We confirm that your packaging will scan at checkout for sure. So it's a service we offer. We add to our offerings.
Amazing. Okay, so final question, and then I'll pose overall takeaways to both of you. Final question from Ritvik is, does purchasing Barcodes as a white labeling firm make sense? Meaning we don't own the product and our supplier doesn't use the barcode, but we want to keep it consistent with other products, then we can make then can we purchase barcodes? We want to make it consistent with other products, then we can purchase barcodes.
Okay, so if you're if you're the manufacturer and you're actually the one producing white label, generally speaking, the barcode would be purchased by the private label firm itself. So the company themselves, that they own the license. It is done both ways, but generally speaking, like the retailer themselves would be the one who owns the prefix or the license.
Okay, amazing. And I know we've got a couple of additional questions that we haven't gotten to, but our fabulous Startup Global lead, Liesl, will connect some of those questions to various answers from the GS1 team. So leave that with us. Alain and Kevin, final words of wisdom you'd want to share with our audience?
Oh, just a quick note of thank you. This was a wonderful session. Kayla, congratulations on the script, the detail, and the attention to detail. I commend you. Having been in the conference communication business, you can see how the agendas could be a little bit confusing and sometimes not so timely. So again, thank you very much to all the participants. I've left my contact information. If you do have anything that you need information on, either go through your contacts at Startup Canada, or you can send me an email directly. Not a problem.
Amazing. Thanks so much, Alain. Kevin.
All I can say is good luck with your products, and if you ever need any assistance from us, please feel free. And if there's one thing you got from this today is the importance of getting your own unique identifiers for your product.
Definitely. I hear that loud and clear. Well, thank you so much for joining us for today's event. We have a quick feedback poll that's been distributed to all of our viewers right now. We would love to hear your experience and share that feedback with our team. I want to thank everyone for such a lively Q&A and really providing specific questions that hopefully you can action directly into your business. That's what these types of sessions are for. They're meant to be very practical, hands-on, and hopefully this can be implemented into your business. Toot sweet. Thank you to our speakers, Alain and Kevin of GS1 Canada. We look forward to continuing as partners moving forward and sharing the great work that you're doing. Thank you. They're one of our fabulous ecosystem support partners. And to Alexandra, one of our Startup Global entrepreneurs, for donating your time and your expertise. It is really, really so wonderful to learn about your business and your experience. So thanks for taking the time today.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Fabulous. No problem.
I know.
Thank you to our co-presenting partners, Export Development Canada, the Trade Commissioner Service, and UPS, and our ecosystem support partners, Scotiabank, eBay, Google, Northforge, Trade Facilitation Office of Canada, and GS1 Canada. Our next Startup Global webinar, mark your calendars, is on Thursday, April 13th, and that's going to be on building intellectual property skills. It's a huge topic right now, especially when it comes to global businesses. Registration is now open on our website, and the link has been provided in the chat. Take care, everyone. See you next time. And a huge thank you to the rest of the Startup Canada team that made today's event possible. Liesl, congrats on your first Startup Global webinar, and thanks to our incredible Managing Director, Crystal Falea, who's supporting on the back end as well. Thanks so much, team, and have a great rest of your day.
I know.
Bye, everyone.